Fox News is committed to your family's safety, and summertime on the Gulf Coast usually means trips to the beach or even some pool days. So the big question, is your child safe around and in water? Brian Bresnan, a swim instructor with British Swim School, joins us now to talk about water safety. Thank you so much for being here today.
Yes, ma'am. How are you?
I'm great. And this is summertime. It's so important to keep our kids safe. And so that's what we want to talk about. So go through the folks that you train, kids all the way to adults, right?
Yes, ma'am. We train students anywhere from 3 months old all the way up to, senior citizens. They can consist of students of any sort of level, military, law enforcement, swim team level. Anybody can start at any time.
How important is
it's never too late to learn?
Right. And how important is this training, especially if you have a child and you're going to be bringing that kid around the beach or the pool? It's like an extra layer of protection for the kid, right?
Yes, ma'am, it is. We always teach water safety and water survival skills on any level. An accident or potential accidental drowning can happen at any time in a split second, depending upon what body of water they're in. So we always teach the student, regardless of their age, to be able to roll onto their back and float, to be able to call for help. And if they're not old enough to swim to safety, be able to at least have their airway exposed so that they can breathe and call for help.
And a lot of times you're with your kids at the pool or at the beach and maybe you've got that cell phone in your hand. Why is it important for adults to be those designated watchers and make sure they're not socializing or preoccupied?
Yes, it's very important, like I said, because an accident can happen in a split second. And if a parent or whoever's supervising them is not 100% alert and they're distracted by phone or whatever it else may be, it might be too late. And so, when they're basically our eyes and ears out of the water, and they are basically the lifeguards while the instructors are in the pool teaching students. So we rely on them to help us with, water safety, make sure that no child or student is, running on the deck, make sure they're not leaning over while they're sitting on the wall for an accidental fall in or whatever the case may be. And it's very important for them to be 100% alert and attentive to their students and other students that are in the classes.
Good points. And if kids are wearing floaties, you might think they're safe, but are they really safe in those floaties?
Not 100%, no. A child should never be left in a floaty unsupervised. A floaty is designed to, their body position in the water puts them at a different angle. So their head is lower in the water and their hips are slightly submerged below the water. And if a child is swimming at the beach and they're wearing a floaty, for example, and their head is too far, facing the water, they can inhale a gulp of water, and that might be all it takes, especially for an infant, to swallow too much water and become a rescue type situation. So here at British Swim School, we use a swim ring at the end of every lesson, and the swim ring is designed to come underneath the students' armpits, and it helps them keep their hips up. And also when we teach them to back float, it teaches them to keep their head back and their hips up and their belly out of water. And so ultimately, no, you cannot rely 100% on a floaties or a swimmies or a life jacket and assume that your child may or may not be okay.
All right, Brian, great advice. Of course, we want our kids and adults to stay safe out there on the water this summer. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
And you can rewatch this interview again or share with someone you know. Just head to our YouTube channel shortly after this newscast and be sure to click subscribe so you never miss an alert when a new story is posted.